community affairs.
This is our leader. He's like a wise man. He has a white beard.
Yeah, you'd think Ron's picture would be up there, but it's not.
Yeah, it looks kind of like Ron.
We just all go, who's that old fart? Oh!
Boy, she's rough on you, isn't she?
I always speak so well of you.
Yeah, I've heard you speak well.
Yeah, I got a PowerPoint. Jeez. That's only four. It's only 4 slides.
4 slides and the last one's
Yeah.
a video that lasts 6 days.
Nah, video, just a short clip. I just want to go over a couple things, a couple of philosophical things. We talked last time about getting people to listen, right? Getting the message out, or why people don't listen to you. And it came up that, well, people don't have any critical thinking skills, right? You try to reason with somebody or try to explain what seems like a pretty simple concept to them, and you kind of got that wall there, right? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about critical thinking. Critical thinking involves logic, which is a sub-area of philosophy. So, is there anybody in here who is a philosopher?
Is or isn't?
Is.
Is that philosophy?
We all are.
We all are, yes.
Yeah, I would think everybody would be a philosopher, right? Has anybody had any formal schooling, like taking a class in philosophy in school or anything like that? Yes?
Go
You
figure.
got bad memories of that? Or?
That was your picture.
If a tree
Bad
falls in the
memories.
forest, if a man's not there to
You
get
look
it,
a lot like
does it
Spooner if you
really make us
kept
out?
that growing.
Yeah.
Like who?
Lysander Spooner, the guy that was on the up on the screen.
I could have sworn it was
Good
Karl
answer.
Marx.
He wasn't out here. Marx
We
did
thought it
look
was
kinda
Ron
like that.
Meyer.
They're at the opposite ends of the spectrum, though.
I see.
All right. Anyway,
No,
what is philosophy?
I think some of the philosophy, like, you know, what do you say philosophy? It depends how to go. The basis for judging philosophy is logic. I think the logic
Yeah.
comes before, and then you can evaluate philosophy.
Mhm.
We go forward.
And that's why I thought, well, maybe we should work on learning critical thinking. Immediately go, well, I'm not the problem, right? It's them. They need critical thinking skills. You have to start with yourself. That's my philosophy. I'm not here because you need critical thinking skills. I'm here because if I'm going to stand up here and talk about it, I have to learn it. So that gets me to learn it. It's my incentive system.
Oh my God, you're not like a teacher at all.
No, I kind of got it backwards.
Yeah.
That's good though. So philosophy is the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence. Logic is an important sub-area of philosophy, and I want to just touch on a certain aspect of logic. We'll just get started on this. At one time, a formal education consisted of what they call the trivium: grammar, logic, and rhetoric. And if you go back far enough, probably 1700s, if you were the upper crust of society and you went to school in the 1600s, 1700s, you probably had an education that had a foundation in the trivium: grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Grammar, of course, letters, numbers, the mechanical parts that you need to know, and then logic was an essential part of education, even at the elementary level, right? Even young kids, learning logic was very important. And then rhetoric is how to communicate your ideas. You have the grammar, the tools to use, you have the logic to know how those tools relate to each other, and then rhetoric involves how to communicate ideas and concepts to other people, and also receive and understand them from other people. So that's a direction I want to work towards, is just talk about some basic logic today, and then later move on into rhetoric, which is really kind of the gist of what we were talking about: how to communicate with people, right? How to spread the word. The form of an argument is really all I want to cover today. The general and basic form of an argument is premises and a conclusion. And a really simple argument is premise, premise, conclusion. An example would be, all dogs can bite, Rover is a dog, therefore Rover can bite is the conclusion, right?
Sure.
Windmills are efficient. We need efficient energy, therefore we need an ordinance to allow windmills.
Oh.
That may not be a sound argument or a valid argument, but it fits the form of an argument. Or it can be backwards, conclusion followed by the premises. We need windmills because windmills are efficient and we need efficient energy. So I'm going to show a short video clip, and what I want to do with this, I'll set this up and then we'll watch it, and I'd like everybody just to watch it and see if you can pick out the conclusion and the premises. We got 15 minutes. And then I'd like to just, whoever can say what you thought they were after we watch it. This is a congressional hearing. It's Ron Paul talking to Hillary Clinton.
Oh, that's not good.
Before Hillary Clinton was in as head of state, or Secretary of State, or when she was coming in.
Yeah, we don't have the other room, so it's either all or nothing.
You'll probably be able to see without the light out.
Good, that's skewed.
There's a lot of talk about new military policies, right? What was the talk from the Obama camp? Getting out of, right? Getting out of Afghanistan, closing down, getting
Whatever
out.
happened to that?
We're not getting.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, and Ron Paul is a non-interventionist type of guy, right? He's a non-aggression type of guy, at least as far as a politician can be. So he's got her on the hot seat, and he's going, are you going to act on this stuff? There was a lot of talk. There seems to be a change in tone. A change in tone is a change in tone. Are there going to be actual actions to back this up? So then her argument is the one that I want to take a look at and see if we can pick out the conclusion and the premises. Don't be distracted by whether the premises are true or not. just look for the form of the argument.
We're looking for Hillary's, right?
Yeah.
Go listen to Ron first.
Address that and maybe give me some hints as far as maybe seeing actual some shift in our policy.
Well, thank you, Congressman. I think that the President's actions in these nearly 100 days do match actions with words, although I admit there's a lot more to be done. We are still sorting out everything we've inherited and trying to make sense of it. You know, we want to protect America's national security, but we think there are better and more effective ways of doing that. So we are ending the war in Iraq. There is a definite end date for our troops to be there. The President did close Guantanamo. The President is looking for ways to engage with those who nobody wanted us to talk to, which is it.
All right. Did everybody hear it?
Yeah.
So what was the conclusion in that?
End the war.
The conclusion is, as I saw it, is we are taking action, right? We are moving away from aggressive action, less military action. That's the way I heard her conclusion. You think? What would be her premises?
Closing Gitmo.
Yeah, closing Gitmo. There was
Ending
two
the war
more in
in
there.
Iraq.
What's that?
Ending the war in Iraq.
Ending the war in Iraq. And then there was a third one. She kind of
Talking
used.
to people that they didn't want to be talking. They never spoke to them or had a relationship with them.
Yeah, she talked about new relationships or more diplomacy. So she had the conclusion right up front, followed by 3 different premises. Since we have a little bit of time, we can talk about soundness and validity. An argument is valid regardless of whether the premises are true, as long as if the premises were true, it would logically lead to the conclusion. An argument is sound only if the premises are true. So, in this case, if we lived in a magic world where everybody told the truth all the time, and she's telling the truth, why are you pointing to him?
Because, never mind.
Okay.
Earlier.
If she could only tell the truth, right, and everything she's saying is true, would it lead to her conclusion in a logical sense? If you're out of Gitmo,
If, yeah.
right, out of Iraq, I
Would
don't know,
it,
she's
would
saying
it lead
Iraq
to
or
less war?
Afghanistan. Huh?
would it lead to less war? Is that-
Well,
that was the conclusion, to get us away from conflict?
yeah, the conclusion was that the actions they talked about during the campaign, or that Obama
Yeah, to
talked
get
about.
rid of the Iraq conflict,
Mhm.
but to say that closing Gitmo and getting out of Iraq would end conflict with the United States. No.
I think her conclusion
Well-
was, we're taking a different tone.
Right.
We're taking a different approach. And by those three things that she said, if they were to be true, that is taking a different tone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I saw the conclusion is the town is backed by our actions. Action A, action B, action C to demonstrate it, right? The three different premises.
Sure.
So if what she was saying was true, then yeah, it would logically lead to that conclusion. So that is a valid argument. However, when it comes to soundness, for an argument to be sound, the premises have to be true. So would it pass that test? Would this argument be sound?
No.
No.
Right. Out of Gitmo? No. All I can figure is she's talking about that he signed something that said Gitmo is going to be closed down. It never came to
Political
be.
talk.
Right, right. Political speak. Out of Iraq
No.
or Afghanistan? No.
Libya.
There- maybe talk about it, so we set a date, right? Does anybody think there won't be United States troops in Iraq in 10 years from now?
There will
No.
be.
There will be. They're there to stay. And the third one, more diplomacy. Moving towards more diplomacy.
Depends on your definition of diplomacy.
Yeah, I don't know.
With who?
Yeah, they don't like us.
I don't know.
I
Maybe.
mean, if you consider
I don't follow the
talking
State
to people
Department.
outright want to kill you as diplomacy, which some people, I guess, would.
Brotherhood? We're
Yeah.
buds.
What's that?
We're buds now with a brotherhood.
The Muslim Brotherhood over
Oh, don't you know that?
Finally got a bro in the up.
I don't know.
Life is good.
So I don't know on that one. That one maybe you could interpret that as being true.
I'm so glad.
Two of them,
Yeah,
definitely not.
I don't
So,
think you can definitely define diplomacy and,
yeah,
I mean, one person's diplomacy is another person's war.
yeah.
So,
So she defines it that way. I don't know. Maybe their administration did sit down
So you
to the
give them
table
that
with
one.
someone.
And we still have.
So I would maybe give them that one. I don't know. But the other two are definitely not true. So it wouldn't be a sound argument. And that's all I really want to cover today. I'd like to keep
This has to be ordered.
progressing on
Yeah.
and building on this.
no, I don't want to use that word.
Progressive
Forward.
on, no, yeah, you
I
can't use that
I
word.
didn't say progressive. I said just progressing.
It's got the same tone.
We have to
We
get
need to
rid of.
move away from these
please-
actions, Scott.
We'll
You're
talk-
setting a tone that's similar.
We're gonna get into euphemisms eventually, so that'll probably come back up again. Questions? That's all I really wanted to say for today. If people are interested, I'd like to keep building on this.
We'd like to keep this sustainable.
This is in Agenda 21,
This is,
page 369, paragraph D.
It's not a
I'm
sound.
gonna go and look that up now.
We can go through logical fallacies. That'll be very interesting.
Fallacy, yeah, they're,
Okay, just a second. Once we get into that, if you learn logical fallacies. All right, go ahead.
This was in the paper last week in the Albion New Era. It was written by a Dr. Paul Kanger, who is a professor of political science at Grove City College and the executive director of the Center for Vision and Values. And he's written books, Ronald Reagan and the Fall of Communism, yada, yada, yada. But the last paragraphs of this article, the title of it is On the Deficit, the Rich, and the Tea Party. And he said, let me repeat, America's deficit debt problem is a spending problem. It is not the fault of the rich who pay too little income tax or Tea Party members guilty of terrorism. Don't take my word for it. Look at the data. My fear, however, is that the data just doesn't matter to a huge number of followers of the party line, and that's a very serious problem for this country, a giant propaganda hurdle that may be insurmountable. That reasoning doesn't matter to some people.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're idiots.
Because they're idiots.
I knew that one would get you.
Maybe we should have done nonviolent communication.
Because they're Democrats.
One problem, as far as not needing any facts, is because they believe they already have the facts. If you ever look at the college graduates nowadays, and you even, I mean, my friends, one of them was going to college just recently, he's telling me how much this costs. I'm like, good luck with that. I said, you'll come out so much better off. And they hold this college degree like up on this pedestal, and they're all they talk about, and when they come out and you disagree with them, I went to college. I know.
But they don't get a job.
So they don't have to look at facts. They learned this. They were taught this. They know it. They paid thousands of dollars and have the bill to prove it. So there is no reason for them to look anything up. They know. It's been told.
I haven't clashed on ideology or philosophy with too many people who didn't know that I was wrong. Everybody thinks they know. Going to college, that's an appeal to authority, right? It's true because I went to college, right? I'm right because I went to college. It's a common logical fallacy. The authority of a college
Not
degree.
to say that just people that go to college think that way either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've noticed it's
I
a
went
lot
to college.
stronger, and
There you go.
we know what's wrong
I
with you
spent a
now.
bunch of time in college, and look at me.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I
I didn't learn how to think critically in college. I learned the structure of a cell. I learned how to do
You learned
experiments
a
with lab
process.
rats. Huh?
You learn the process. Follow this
I learned a process. I learned empiricism. I learned how to read a journal. I didn't really learn critical thinking. I didn't learn philosophy in college. You can, but if you have the wrong philosophy teacher, I don't think you're going to do a good job of learning philosophy. This is stuff that you got to do on your own. There's a lot of epiphanies when you start teaching yourself. You have to be a self-teacher. When people become dependent, I think, on other people to be their teacher, on a college professor to be their teacher, on some kind of authority figure, you get taught what they want you to know. You get taught in the interest of
Somebody
them.
else's perspective.
Yeah, you receive someone else's perspective. If you adopt that without running it through the rigors of critical thinking, then you have trouble. And you end up arguing with somebody, being wrong, and telling them you know that you're right. So, that's what I want to work on, trying to sort out what's fact and what's not using logic, and then figure out how to get through, the wall of denial that you run into when you talk to other people. Idiots. Right?
I knew you'd still look at me and say, she's going to be a hard one this time.
All right, I'm done. Unless anyone's got any questions?
What's next week?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll come up with something.
Okay.
I'm winging it here.
Have you ever looked into using logic to make foredrawn conclusions based off of known knowledge, but not necessarily 100%? As far as making an educated guess, basically. Based off of current knowledge that you have about a certain subject area, but you don't have all the facts, but you can make
I
an
think that's
educated
called
guess.
conjecture.
Yeah.
Using limited information to draw your conclusion.
Yes, but I mean, what are the statistics on the outcomes being true?
Well, you'd have to be more specific.
And I'm not necessarily, you're thinking of it, conjecture, it isn't, well.
Do you have a specific situation or opinion?
No,
you're
because that's what I've
thinking
been trying to find out a simplified version to bring in, because I want to have some fun with this.
You me, if you had like,
I'm not sure.
I can't think of
I'm following you.
anything small enough or simple enough right now.
if you had 80% of the facts, you would be willing to make a conclusion.
Draw a conclusion. I mean, I'm not talking big world like, oh, I think I made a serum here that's gonna cure all this disease or kill everyone, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, you know how, let's just,
But you could
The
keep
motor-
continue to subdivide that,
the
right?
stuff
Like you
under
could-
the hood of a car.
Yeah.
You know how certain things work, but you might not know how everything works, but based off of what you know, you could make educated guesses on how something else would work or what its purpose is.
And that makes you very dangerous.
He ain't working on my car.
And you're looking for kind of like a numerical guidepost, or hey, if I know what 50% of the stuff underneath the hood does, then how likely is it that if I guess that this is the problem? It's
No,
gonna
I'm
be
just
right?
talking, people don't use logic to understand how things work. They need to know they don't connect anything. They consider them compartmentalized from each other. And
Yeah.
that's what I want to get more into. Not so
Right.
much as whether your educated guess is true. I just want to be
Right.
something interested in.
They're
But
not seeing
they
the
don't see- yeah,
interconnectedness.
they can understand the radiators where the water gets cooled, but how does it get to the engine? And they wouldn't even possibly think of looking at a hose going to something and trying to figure out what that does to get to where. They don't
Yeah.
see that.
I guess that'd be a form of logic, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Looking at how things work.
Women have it and men
Just
don't.
understanding logically how,
No, you're thinking of phone skills.
but in government, people don't look any further
Well, I know
than
how to clear
that
it.
either.
Right, and government is dependent on people not looking at the interconnectedness of things.
That's why they make it complicated.
Right, otherwise it would start to lose support in a hurry.
That's what I want to do.
That's what I said.
We'll go there then. Do you want to give next
That's why
week's
I was
lesson?
trying to get me wound up before I get
I don't know if I want to give a lesson on looking.